Tommy Robinson says a lot of things that a lot of people agree with, and on the grooming gangs, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there I agree with him on. He's highlighted some stuff. But anybody would agree with, I think. I mean, this rape scandal has been going on not just a few years, it's left a dark stain.
There's this sort of woke ideology that, like, you can't say, you've got to be careful about things that you say.
No, you haven't got to be careful. They're Pakistani Muslim rape gangs. It's as simple as that. It's plain English. And politicians that are covering up for this or not saying this are up to their necks in it.
There is no doubt anymore. Britain's effed up uni party, a uni party trying to change the shape of our United Kingdom forever against our will, and our even more effed up two-party Westminster system is over. The MSM and political establishment just don't realise it yet. So buckle up, losers. It's going to be a bumpy ride for you. The most significant poll in the country last night showed Reform UK in the lead, making the prospect of PM Farage very, very real. As the party's chairman, Zia Youssef, put it, 220 seats is more like it, but we will win 350 to 400 at the next election. And the stats from YouGov are astonishing. Indeed, the pollster Matt Goodwin declared after the survey, only people with dementia in care homes are saying they'll vote Tory now. Indeed, Reform is attracting 1 in 3 men in Britain, is more popular than the Tories among 25 to 64-year-olds, and is the most popular party among the working classes. And Goodwin added, if Farage can turn mass immigration into the new Brexit and mobilise levers around a new cluster of issues which are highly correlated with Brexit, then he will start to break through in a very, very big way, which is what clearly he is doing by targeting these core and also highly salient issues. But perhaps the only difficult issue for Reform at the moment is one particularly salient for working class folk: the persecution by the state of the political prisoner, Tommy Robinson. So on one side of this debate, you have Farage and Tice strongly opposed to anything connected to Tommy, the party's official leadership. But on the other side, you have the party's 2 other star MPs, Rupert Lowe and Lee Anderson. And both have spoken out in the past 24 hours, taking the Elon Musk position on this highly controversial issue. So first, Rupert Lowe made that very, very clear during an appearance with Michelle Dewberry on GB News.
Well, with regard to the issue that you raise about Tommy Robinson's visitation rights, I mean, he should be treated, and I actually did write to the authorities about this to say I hope that he would be looked after as all other prisoners are looked after and treated in exactly the same way. I mean, under the law, we're all supposed to be treated equally, and I think it's wrong if you're not. So he deserves to be looked after correctly. He deserves to have the right visitation rights. And as I understand it, the march on the weekend was actually very peaceful, unlike some other marches we've had recently in London. So credit to the people who had a peaceful march. They have every right to march. They're basically solid British citizens who believe in the nation state, and they have every right to express their opinions on that. So I'm publicly, I put out a statement, Michelle, saying Tommy Robinson deserves credit for what he's done on the grooming gangs. I think he does. That doesn't mean to say he's right for reform. He's never wanted to be part of reform.
No, but
he should be treated
what I've never
properly.
understood. Has he ever actually come out? Because I find it quite interesting that Reform UK are constantly coming out and going, Tom Robinson's not welcome, and it's like, it's a little bit, it's like saying to, I'm not going to go on a date with you, I'm not going to go on a date. Well, I haven't even asked to go on a date with you, thanks.
Well, it's a case of render unto Tommy Robinson what is Tommy Robinson's and render unto reform what is reform's. I think that's how it should be.
Yeah, but I just think it's very, very odd that you're all kind of going around going, Tommy Robinson's not welcome, and I don't know. I don't know Tommy Robinson. Maybe
Michelle,
he has
I've never
to be
said
part
that.
of
I've never said
reform.
that.
I find it very odd.
There you go. I never said that. I never said that. Because, of course, who did say that is leader Nigel Farage. That was swiftly followed by Lee Anderson with the Daily Express.
On that, Robinson, do you think that there is a case that he's done a decent job in terms of raising awareness about...
Tommy Robinson says a lot of things that a lot of people agree with, and on the grooming gangs, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there I agree with him on. He's highlighted some stuff. But anybody would agree with, I think. I mean, that this rape scandal has been going on not just a few years, it's left a dark stain.
There's this sort of woke ideology that, like, you can't say, you've got to be careful about things that you say.
No, you haven't got to be careful. They're Pakistani Muslim rape gangs. It's as simple as that. It's plain English. And politicians that are covering up for this or not saying this are up to their necks in it. They're covering up. We know that, you know, it's going to come out eventually.
It's all very interesting to me. What I personally hope is that Nigel and Richard see that this messaging from Rupert and Lee is actually much more effective. But with Elon seeming to back Rupert and not resolving his feud with Farage, anything is possible once the party democratizes. Meanwhile, the MSM continues to hammer away with the status quo. Kay Burley of Sly News, soon to be off television, had this testy exchange with Tice this morning regarding the Trump tariffs.
He says he's having a chat with him on the phone this morning, but as far as he's concerned, Canada, Mexico, China, it's a done deal.
And let's see where it ends up. It may well be a done deal.
But if it's a done deal, what's it going to do to the global economy? And what impact is it going to have on our economy?
You're clearly not interested in what's happening in the UK. I am. I'm negotiating on behalf of British citizens what's right for us.
Why do you say that? Why am I not interested?
Because you're focused on...
I've lived in this country a lot longer than you.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's focus on what's going on in Britain, not what's going on in Mexico and Canada. That's what's of real interest to us. And we've got to get this economy growing by cutting out daft regulation, stop sending our money overseas, scrap net zero, and that it gives us the space.
Are you supporting massive tariffs or not?
Look, tariffs are a negotiation. I've said that. What I'm supporting is we've got to focus on the UK. You seem to be focusing on Mexico and Canada. I'm focusing on the UK.
You missed out China, and I was then going to go on to Europe.
Yeah, you can go on all those. Let's focus on Britain, shall we? What works? What makes British citizens better off? You're not interested in that.
You
haven't asked me about it. You haven't.
But she isn't. She wasn't. He wasn't speaking rubbish. Burley has no interest. All she wants to do is spark division. And actually, it came hot on the heels. I don't know if you caught this yesterday. It seemed to go under the radar. But this revoltingly biased question posed by Beth Rigby of Sly News to Slippery Starmer about Donald Trump. Watch.
And Prime Minister, President Trump says tariffs on the EU are coming. He hasn't ruled out tariffs on the UK. Are you worried about that? And be it from forcing Ukraine to the negotiating table to threatening trade wars with allies, isn't it the truth that President Trump is a bad thing for Europe's economic prosperity and security? Thank you very much.
On your first question, let me say that...
Isn't it true? No, it's not true, Beth. Goodness me. Can't wait till she's out of job. But look, the thing is, elites like her and Kay Burley are losing. They might not know it yet, but they should, because it is over. And no moment of the past week actually summed that up more to me than this from the BBC, where Yasmin Alabaya Brown, that completely revolting, divisive, troubled soul who is given platform after platform, day after day by the MSM, was completely exposed for her anti-English narrative in a debate with Emma Webb and Stephen Wolfe.
Acknowledged one of those points that Emma made about the fact that it puts the social cohesion, that people coming here
Listen,
in large numbers. So she's talking about large numbers.
So you go to the Red Wall. I go to the Red Wall a lot and argue with people in pubs. I do this as a duty, as a journalist, right? And I ask them, what attempt have you, and these are white people, have you made to integrate with those who come into your society? Why is the pressure always on us, the problem people? Why don't we say to more white people, integrate better, especially in those areas?
They haven't chosen to move to another country.
Hang on. I don't interrupt you, so don't interrupt me, okay? Why don't we say integration is a dance?
So
you need two people.
You need two people on both sides.
And only one side gets lectured.
That is a fair point, isn't it, Stephen?
No, it's not. It's actually, these people have chosen to come to a different country. And if I chose to go to Spain, I'd want to integrate into Spain. I'd want to learn the language.
But that Brits don't do that.
And just give me the same courtesy that you requested of Robert Jenner. So I'm just turning around and saying that when I went to Portugal, I wanted to integrate with Portugal. I started to learn the language when I was there. I went out with people to show me about their culture, the food, the fadas, the dancing. And that's exactly, it was my choice to go there, my choice to integrate in that culture. It is a responsibility on the individual that goes to a place. You cannot take that responsibility and place it on a different country and say, you change for them. That's unacceptable.
So let's just think about that for a moment, shall we? Yasmin Alabaya Brown thinks it's my responsibility as an English white person to integrate with a group of people that literally want to throw me off the top of buildings. Oh, and by the way, if I keep saying this, very shortly, Angela Rayner is going to decide that I should be locked up in prison. Utterly nuts. Completely and utterly nuts. But the days of Yasmin and people like Yasmin, people like Beth Rigby, people like Kay Burley dominating the debate with ludicrous positions like that is nearly over. Now, my superstar panel. And I am delighted to be joined today by YouTube sensation June Slater and the conservative commentator Lalani Dowding. So great to see you both. And boy, we have so much to discuss. But look, I want to kick off actually with this issue of Tommy Robinson within Reform UK. There's lots of people already in the live chat saying, Dan, what are you doing? You shouldn't even be bringing this up. Focus on the division in the left. And look, I understand that. And you will also know that I've said a heck of a lot of positive things about Reform UK today. I believe there's even a bit of a split on this issue within our superstar panel, which doesn't usually happen between June and Lalani. So June, let me kick off with you because you are the person that says, stop focusing on this. Stop talking about splits between Tommy Robinson and Reform UK. It doesn't matter. And you trust that Nigel has taken his position for strategic reasons.
I don't think you're going to change his mind. And I don't think it's malicious. I don't think he gets it right. And I prefer he didn't do it. Well, that's my choice. And I was told by somebody from ITV who contacted me, a backroom person, who said it's the media that are driving this division because basically the MPs, the Reform MPs, don't actually talk about this topic unless they're asked. Every time Nigel goes on a show, he's got a limited time span. And what do they bring up? Tommy Robinson. He said it, not in a way that I would say it, but he said it more than once, that Tommy's not interested in reform. Reform isn't interested in Tommy. It goes way too far in my book, but it eats into the minutes that he's got to talk about his politics. And when you've got sensible policies like Reform have, the last thing the mainstream media want is extensive airtime for him to talk to you about that. So let's waste 2 or 3 minutes on Tommy Robinson. Tommy Robinson, to me, would be like Elton John joining Reform. There would be so much attention on Tommy, it would completely sidetrack whatever Reform we're trying to do. And I don't think there's a split in the party. I don't think that the behind the scenes that Rupert Lowe and Nigel Farage are talking about Tommy Robinson, I don't think they bring it up. I think that journalists bring it up because it's in their interest to do it. It's tantalising, isn't it? It's something to talk about on a slack news day. But I don't think there's actually a split. I think people like Rupert and Lee Anderson are their own men and will behave how they want to, and no one will dictate to them. It's not exactly a Reform policy. It's a stance that Nigel has taken. And at the end of the day, it's, as I keep reminding everyone, Reform's the getaway car. And if you're complaining about the driver, you better stand and take the punishment because they're the only thing on offer. We're back to Brexit. And Nigel is the face that the public will recognise who don't follow social media, who don't come on Dan Wootton, who are waiting for the BBC and the ITV news channels to tell them what to think. So he will get on those channels. And I actually believe
Oh, just when June was saying, I actually believe, her sound has gone. But I do get your point, June. We'll get that sorted. But Lilani, I do agree with what June is saying. Maybe my only slight area of disagreement is saying that they are not talking about this issue within Reform UK. Because remember, it was Elon Musk who put this issue on the map. And what's really fascinating is that in recent days, Elon Musk appears to be coming pretty close to endorsing Rupert Lowe. I mean, when Rupert posted the other day, Reform now 4 points ahead in the latest polling, we're going to win the next election, real change is coming. Elon replied to Rupert saying, true, in the past, Elon would have been making that comment to Nigel Farage.
This is where I do differ slightly from June and agree with you, because when I see Rupert, when I see Lee Anderson talking, they're talking in a way that I think Nigel should. Yes, it is the media, as June said, pushing this, asking about Tommy, eating into the minutes. But Nigel should just say what they say and not go into detail and start bashing him, which is what he's done. Nigel starts bringing up his record, his criminal record, which actually, if you look at the mortgage fraud nonsense, it's very similar what happened to Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago, where he got in trouble for mortgage fraud because he had got a self-cert mortgage which had been paid off, and then they later came after him. And the media keep using this, and then, you know, someone like Nigel Farage will bring this up, which, you know, I don't know why he needs to put Tommy down in order to build himself up. Lee Anderson hasn't, nor has Rupert Lowe. And I think they've handled the questions about Tommy in a very decent way. And now, if you look at what Michelle Dewberry says, it's a shame the mainstream media isn't more like her, where she said, look, Tommy has never asked to join Reform. It's not even a question. Just say, Nigel could just say, Tommy has never asked to join. It's, you know, it's a non-issue. He's never asked to join. It doesn't matter. And we'll cross that bridge if it came to it. But he doesn't do that. So that's where I disagree. And also, obviously, with Richard Tice saying that, you know, we're one of those people. But when he was interviewed by Kay Burley, I agreed fully with what Richard Tice said, how she was going on about the tariffs. And what do we see? Canada and Mexico have folded. He was right. They used it as Trump used it as a bargaining chip to get what he wanted and to get the borders secured from fentanyl. So that was what he wanted to sort out. He wanted to sort out the fentanyl and the illegals coming across the border. Both have sent 10,000 troops up to their borders, down to their borders, and they're securing them. So, you know, it was a risk and it paid off. And he did write the book, what is it called? The Art of the Deal. So, you know, we've got to know that he's a master negotiator there. And this is why we need business people in charge of this country, not idiots that know nothing about business, like we have with Labour, Keir Starmer, Rachel from Accounts, Angela Rayner, No Brainer, you know, all of these people. So, you know, for me, even with this, you know, divide about Tommy, and I'm a big, big supporter of Tommy publicly, I still absolutely go for Reform.
But first, this episode is sponsored by Manscaped, the brand trusted by over 11 million men worldwide for their face and body trimmers, hygiene essentials, and premium boxers. If so many men swear by them, including me, you can bet your Valentine will too. So yes, the countdown to Valentine's Day is ticking down faster than stores slash prices on chocolate on February the 15th. And this time around, we're going to raise the bar, okay? Because I'm sure you've watched your man try for that rom-com leading man charm only to land in scruffy sidekick territory. But not this year, because we're treating them to the VIP experience. Meet the handyman Rocket Man Special Edition from Manscaped, a sleek, compact face grooming essential that guarantees your partner's face is on track for heartthrob status all year round. Now available in the Special Edition Rocket Man colorway featuring gold and black. And just a quick word of advice though, there are limited quantities available in this colour, so you'll need to act fast. You can use the code Outspoken for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. What's so incredible about the Handyman, I absolutely love it, is a cordless product designed for convenience, so it will easily fit into a bathroom drawer or slip into an overnight or gym bag for easy grooming on the go. It's perfect for those last-second touch-ups when your reservation is in 15 minutes and he's looking a bit more lost in the woods than leading man in a love story. Engineered with a unique dual blade system, it features both a standard foil shaver and a long hair trimming blade to handle up to 3 days of beard growth. What's even better is the Handyman comes equipped with skin-safe technology designed to help reduce nicks and cuts for the perfect clean shave. After all, who wants a sharp reminder of their grooming session on a romantic evening out? It's also waterproof with up to 60 minutes of runtime per charge. Whether your guy is a grooming newbie or a seasoned pro, the Handyman in the special edition Rocketman colorway is the perfect upgrade to his grooming regime. And just in time to make this Valentine's Day extra special, Manscaped has a 30-day money back guarantee, so you can try risk-free. Just use the code Outspoken and you will get 20% off and free international shipping on your entire order when you check out. That's manscaped.com using the code Outspoken for free shipping and a whopping 20% discount on your entire order. But now, back to the show. June, do you want to come back on any of that? I promise I didn't cut you off on purpose, by the way.
I do agree with Lilani. I think Nigel Farage, when he's saying it, I feel like going, oh, for God's sake, just don't say anything. Deflect it. If it was me, I'd turn around to the journalist and I'd say, why do you want to talk about this? Most of the country are bothered about the bills. Most of the country are bothered about energy prices, not Tommy Robinson. So I would deflect it. I'd knock it back over the net. I think that would be a better approach. I'm not happy with his approach. But what I'm saying is I don't think it's something that's consciously discussed within the Reform Party. I think, you've got to remember there's only 5 of them. They've got the constituency business, and then they'll work as a collective on who's handling which topic nationally. You've only got to look at how much ground they cover in these back cabinet debates, like on farming or DEFRA or even the WHO pandemic treaty. They cover everything in these back cabinet debates, and they're all really good at it once they get their teeth into it. Even the new guy, and I can never remember his name. So
James
there's a lot
McMurdoch.
more going on. James McMurdoch, that's it.
And I think he will be a star in the future, actually.
Yeah, I think he will. I think he's got a lot of potential, especially to say how new he is. And the great thing about this is because Nigel's surrounded himself with very, very strong men like Rupert and like, my favourite ferret owner, Lee Anderson. He has never had a ferret, by the way, it's just something I made up. The strong men, they're not going to be dictated to.
Sorry, June, you've got to back up there. You're going to have to explain that one to me. I can't let that slide.
Somebody came on my thread about Lee Anderson, and it was a lefty who said he should get back down the pit and start racing his ferrets again. And so it's this kind of thing stuck about Lee Anderson having ferrets. And I said, he's an upmarket miner, actually. He was stood in the pub and he said, oh, why don't you come in and bring your Yorkshire Terrier? The more the merrier. We'll drink a Perrier. And it was a joke that Lee Anderson had made. He's never had any ferrets. I don't know if he's had any ferrets. But this guy comes on my thread repeatedly going on about Lee Anderson having ferrets because he's a working class bloke. I think Lee's great. I've had a few run-ins with him in the past. But these two men aren't going to be dictated to about what they want to believe in. They've said what they believe in. Tommy's done a good job on grooming gangs. He has. Half of the working class nation who follow politics actually understand what Tommy's tried to do. I support him. I try and dodge around it when I'm writing anything because I don't want to lose my damn page on Facebook. But it's not because I don't believe in what Tommy's done. I think he's getting a rough ride. Thankfully, someone's been to see him today. It's the first visit he's had for God knows how long, because they were stopping visits by people who have podcasts or a high social media presence. But someone's been to see him today. I think, if someone like Richard Tice sticks to topics like he was with Kay Burley, comes across very well, and he's obviously very knowledgeable. He's been around politics a while. But I think this opens the doors for people to enter politics, jockey on the back of reform, wear their colours, get into Parliament, show people what you can do, just like Rupert and Lee. And then that way, those people will keep the seat whoever they're representing. And that way we could actually get independence in power, where it would be a like-mindedness rather than a party political situation with the country. I'd like to see reform strong enough to accept independent candidates jockeying alongside them with the same basic ethos, so we don't have to back a political party. But it would be foolhardy not to understand that there's only one offer here to get us away from the youth. There's one person offering that. That's Nigel. And he's the face that's recognised. It's the supermarket test. I've done it. You stand outside with a clipboard. You have 4 names. You can have Tommy Robinson. You could have Ben Habib. You could have Richard Tice and Nigel Farage. Everyone will know Nigel. Some will know Tommy. And some of those that know Tommy will see him in a bad light because they've listened to the media. And they won't know who Ben is. And they won't know who Richard is. They just don't know it because they're not following politics. They're busy picking the kids up from school and going to the gym, looking after their elderly parents. So the acid test is you need a face that's recognisable, like Colonel Sanders on a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken. You know when you see that face, it's going to be good stuff. And that's what you're getting with Nigel Farage. He's the brand. He's the brand that will take them forward. This is one chance. He's out of it after that. At his age, he's not going to hang around till he's 80 doing this, is he? And he's got strong men around him. So that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, as long as those strong men, I'm with you, June, as long as those strong men like Rupert Lowe and Lee Anderson are able to continue saying what they think, I think that will work well. Because, of course, what we want is for the Overton window, which I keep talking about, to shift, which it partly will shift because of Trump, because of what's happening with Trump, but also because of what Rupert and Lee say, reflecting the views of the wider party. So on that, I agree with you.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.